Hello everybody, Keith here again. Today I'm going to repot this Zygopetalum. I got it as Zygopetalum Sensations, but it isn't because it has no smell whatsoever. It looks similar to one or two other hybrids, but I've not found one that's exactly the same. But anyway, a rescue plant. I bought it a few years ago now for, I think it was about £1.50 on the scrap table at a garden centre, and it was in a heck of a state, and I managed to pull it around, and it did quite well for a bit. And then last time it put a new growth up, it was this one, which is far bigger than the others. And now we've got this one, which is flowered, first time in a couple of years perhaps, but it's right at the edge of this pot. There's roots coming out in all directions, and some of them are beginning to die back. And if you can see that one by my thumb, the tip's gone black, and there's some others that aren't looking very good. So it's been in this pot for a little while. I don't know how long off the top of my head, but I'm just going to I think, given the fact that the pseudobulbs are beginning to shrivel, that there's something not quite right down below. So we'll have it out, we'll have a look, and I'm going to try and put it into a similar sized pot, but a round one, and hopefully I can get it in there without too much trouble. So, yeah, well, we've got moss and perlite in there, so it's probably not been potted ever such a long time, because I haven't been using that combination for all that long. But the roots on the back end are no good at all, and that root, which is one of those that's coming off the front, isn't very good. So I think it's definitely a candidate for a refresh, if nothing else. And I think what I'm going to do is it's going to need quite a good trim looking at this. And I shall have to decide whether I'm going to keep that pseudobulb on there. It's quite firm, it's quite large, so we'll see how we get on, but I think for now I need to do some root trimming, and we'll see where we get to with that, because most of these roots on the back end have absolutely had it. So I don't think you need to watch me scratch about with that, and we'll come back in a bit and we'll see how we get on. Okay then, back again. All the roots from the back three pseudobulbs have had it. Worryingly, some of the roots off the front of the plant are not doing very well at all, but we have got quite a crop of new roots here. So I need to make sure it's in good compost, and it's got a chance for those to go down and do it some good. It was a bit too big for that square pot, and I'm going to use this 12cm round pot, and I'm going to lay it over a little bit, because what I don't want to do is have that back pseudobulb down very far, because this is a plant that tends to climb. I've made up a mixture of how well you're going to see it in there, but it's probably about 2/3 bark, and then the rest of it's a mix between a small amount, relatively small amount of moss and some perlite. I hope that's going to work. It's similar to what it's been in, so you know, we'll see how we go. It'll give it the least shock to the system, which is obviously what you want to do whenever you repot an orchid. So get that in there like that. Okay, that's at least now with it set slightly back from the edge with this slightly bigger pot. I mean, I didn't particularly want to pot it up that far because that very rarely works out for the best, but I'm hoping that it's not that far potted up and it will be able to colonise the pot, because the roots, some of the old roots, would certainly go to the bottom of that. So as we all know, zygos like to be on the moist side compared to some orchids, but I don't get the impression that very many orchids like to be wet all the time. Certainly not any that are in the wild that are epiphytic, really. The only ones that don't seem to mind too much, I find, are Restrepes, but I'm keeping those in very high humidity situations in terraria, as you know, and they seem to be perfectly happy with that. So hopefully that will kick itself off and we'll get back to get the roots down into the pot, get it some hydration. I mean, I've seen what a difference that makes with some of the Phalaenopsis, which were looking extremely poor, and almost as soon as I've put the plant in new bark and it's had the chance to get the roots down into some nice clean bark, then it's started to do something a bit better. This has been a better plant, but I think now we seem to be back into some kind of a routine. I can put what I'm doing now, again, as you will have seen over the last few months, there's still more repots to do. Every time I do some water I seem to find another plant that needs doing again. But what I'm doing now is I'm putting in a tag in each pot with the date of the repot. And yes, I've got a computer program with that information on, but it's not as good as something that just says, you know, 22nd of March 22, because then when I come round and look at it, I go, oh hello, that's been in there a year, 18 months, 2 years, whatever, and I'm not likely to just let it go over. So that's this one. This is a no ID hybrid Zygopetalum. I think quite a pretty flower. The other flowers were all deformed, but whether that's got anything to do with the plant or it's the not getting quite enough hydration, but anyway, we'll see where we go from here. It seems to be happier, it seems to be a bit more stable, and I can put it into a sleeve or something if I think it needs it. So, thank you for watching. I hope that's been of a little interest. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye.